Roxburgh has been underwater, of course. The beginning of the week, heavy flooding. Torrential rain on hard ground meant almost flash flooding and the loss of services, power, water and sewage. First there was water, high and fast moving, then there was the mud. Now it looks like there's dust. Central Otago's climate seldom does anything by halves, of course. Civil Defence Minister Kris Fa'afoi has been there this afternoon and we spoke to him just over an hour ago.
It strangely feels like life is coming back to normal, but there are four creeks here in Roxburgh that have had a hell of a lot of water flow through it on Sunday, and the rocks and the debris that has come down is sizable. So the community has pulled together a lot. The contractors and the city and the council here have done an amazing job over the last 2 days to clear those up. They're still worried about any future bad weather over the next couple of days, so they've been working overtime to make sure that they can clear those creeks, because that's where a lot of the damage was done.
Yeah, the short-term consequences were pretty severe if you live there, right? You lost your water, you lost your power, you lost your sewage infrastructure. But long-term, this town is going to recover and recover pretty quickly?
Yeah, they're pretty stoked down here in the south. We've been speaking to some of the locals, and while some of them are saying it's been a minor inconvenience, but for some of the families closer to where some of the real damage was done, they could have lost their homes. Good news, as I say, they've done great work on the ground here. Some folks are slowly getting their water back on. They've been given a boil water notice for probably some 2 or 3 days ahead, so that's one of the main messages that they're wanting to get across to the community. But as I say, Roxburgh's a small community. They've had volunteers and council workers knocking on doors of mainly the elderly community just to make sure that the messages around their water coming back on are getting through.
This was a bit of a freakish event because it was very heavy rain on very, very dry ground, which meant the rain had nowhere to go. So you wouldn't expect to see this terribly often. Are you looking at infrastructural changes to make those rivers safer in the event of such weather in the future, because they really couldn't handle it down the bottom, or is it too early to say?
I think that was a part of the discussions today. Some of the some of the creeks that have channeled water out into the Clyde River here have worked for decades, but the event that happened on Sunday night obviously was a lot different to that, and the volume that came through was a lot bigger. They are still in the response phase here, so making sure that the mess that was created from Sunday is cleaned up. But I think that's one of the discussions that will happen a little bit later on around whether the infrastructure is up to dealing with another deluge of this size.
Kris Fa'afoi, Civil Defence Minister, talking to us earlier.